Today is a WRAL weather alert day. The area in yellow has a medium risk for flooding. I'll show you when the storms could develop coming up.
Also saying farewell. Friends and loved ones pay their last respects to the family of four killed in a Lee County plane crash last week.
Plus, education funding showdown. North Carolina's Attorney General and school superintendent will shortly announce a new effort to protect federal dollars for schools in our state. What that plan will likely look like.
You're looking at a live picture of the Gardner Tower, courtesy of our WRAL camera network. Dry conditions right now, but that will change tonight. Today's a WRAL Weather Alert Day. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. Thanks for joining us. We have scattered storms out there that could lead to some additional flooding. Meteorologist Amy Wilmoth is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center right now with the area that has the highest potential to see some of that flooding, Amy.
It's from the triangle and points to the north. That's the area shaded in yellow here, and that's the area that has the medium risk for flooding. And the reason that that area is in the medium risk instead of the low risk like we have down in our southern counties is because the soil moisture is so high in this area due to rains over the last couple of weeks. We also have a level 1 severe threat for the northern and western part of our viewing area. Isolated wind damage would be possible as storms develop. And this is going to be very similar to what we had over the weekend. Not everybody sees the storms. They're going to be pop-up storms that develop, but they'll be very slow moving. And so they could produce some very heavy rain and some damaging winds. It's about a 30% chance of rain through the afternoon and into the early evening hours. And then we bumped it up to about a 40% chance for the rest of the evening and after sunset. So a 30 to 40% chance for storms as we head into the second half of the day. Visible satellite imagery shows some of those puffy cumulus clouds that we can see on some of our cameras, but no rain yet. This is a look at our live dual Doppler 5000. No rain on the radar for now, but we can see some of those clouds in Garner, some blue sky mixed in as well, but everyone dry for now. It is very warm though, 89 the current temperature in Raleigh, 87 right now in Clayton. When you factor in the dew point, it already feels like 97 in Raleigh, feels like 99 right now in Clinton. So very hot and steamy out there today. The next few hours, just a small chance for a shower or storm with temperatures in the low 90s, a heat index in the triple digits. Now coming up, we have a flood risk for tomorrow as well. I'll show you rain chances for tomorrow coming up.
You can track severe weather anytime with the new WRAL News app. Download the WRAL News app and turn on alerts to get notified about severe weather when it's in your location. The WRAL News app is available for Apple and Android devices.
This morning, Sanford remembered the Buchanan family with a funeral service. Travis and Candace and their two children, Aubrey and Walker, were killed in a plane crash in Sanford back on July 7th. WRAL's Carly Haynes was at the procession.
There's a growing memorial here at Buchanan Farms with flowers and balloons, but a short drive away, family and friends are gathered at Shallow Wells Church, remembering the family 1 week after tragedy hit. Services began with a 2-mile-long procession along Broadway Road in Sanford. Lee County Sheriff's deputies guided the cars, and tractors also joined the lineup, which is a testament to the Buchanan's family-owned farm. Oh, this is a well-known farm in the area, and at the church where the funeral took place, the pastor spoke about the family of four who left too soon.
They left an indelible mark on our community and will never be forgotten for their kindness, hard work, and generosity.
Sky 5 flew over the plane debris near the Raleigh Executive Jetport in Sanford on July 7th. An investigator with the National Transportation Safety Board said the plane reported engine and communication issues before crashing. The NTSB preliminary report is expected in about 3 weeks, and the obituary said that the family passed away doing what they loved, flying together to different vacation spots as a family. Carly Haynes, WRAL News, Sanford.
The Trump administration is withholding more than $169 million from North Carolina schools. They say that they are reviewing the funding to make sure it aligns with the president's priorities. State Attorney General Jeff Jackson and State School Superintendent Mo Green are expected to announce legal action this afternoon to force the government to release that money. WRAL Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie is live at the AG's office in Raleigh this noon for us. Laura?
These funds were already authorized by Congress, but the Trump administration says it wants to review what they'll be used for before it releases them. They were due to the states on July 1st, but so far there's no sign of the money and no indication of when it might be released. That money is used for services in every school district all across this state. A large chunk of the money pays for teacher training programs. It also funds before and after school programs for low-income students, both in schools and through nonprofits like the Boys and Girls Clubs and the YMCA. It also pays for English language education and support services for immigrant students and their families. The Trump administration says it's reviewing what the money will be used for, but it wouldn't give a date as to when that review might be complete. In the meantime, schools are using hiring and spending freezes to offset some of the cash flow problems this is causing. We're expecting State Attorney General Jeff Jackson and State School Superintendent Mo Green to announce some type of legal action against the federal government, perhaps a lawsuit that could force them to release the money. The state has joined other lawsuits in other states against the Trump administration. This is not the only example of the administration withholding funds that had already been authorized by Congress. And some courts have ruled that the president can't do that because the power to spend money belongs to Congress. But the U.S. Supreme Court has yet to weigh in on this. Laura Leslie, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Wake County School Board members will have a pretty busy day ahead of them tomorrow. They will be at a retreat from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and then after that they'll have the regular board meeting at 5:30. One of the main agenda items is reorganizing the special education department. The department is dealing with staff shortages and other issues. School leaders will also discuss the budget challenge that continue to face them.
In about an hour, Governor Josh Stein and First Lady Anna Stein are expected to arrive in Asheville. They'll be there to help boost tourism nearly a year after Helene. The governor and First Lady Anna plan to spend the week exploring the mountains of western North Carolina as part of the Rediscover the Unforgettable Tourism Initiative. They say they will be supporting small businesses there and showcasing all that western North Carolina has to offer to travelers. People in Orange County are getting a clearer picture of the extent of the damage left by Chantal's flooding 1 week ago. County officials say the loss for residential homes is estimated to be more than $99 million. Public damages are estimated at more than $22 million. Volunteers across Orange County are stepping up to help. Kyle Wilkerson runs a catering company. He spent the weekend feeding people who don't have water or power.
We're going to stay here and give it all out and feed everybody, as many people as we can.
Evacuation orders near Lake Michael Dam in Mebane have been lifted. The city remains under a water conservation plan while the water treatment plant undergoes repairs. Mayor Ed Hooks says parts of the facility have returned to full power. Orange County officials say 123 residential properties were damaged from the storm.
New this noon, commissioners in Kerr County, Texas, held their first meeting since the deadly July 4th flooding. Leaders are discussing overtime pay for those who responded to the flooding, as well as establishing a central location to help people who live there. We also learned that a director at Camp Mystic waited over an hour to issue evacuations after receiving an alert about severe flooding from the National Weather Service. 27 campers and counselors died. Now, power has also been restored to that nearly 100-year-old camp now.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, we continue to follow that terrible breaking news out of Massachusetts. 9 people are confirmed dead, at least 9 people, and 30 people are in the hospital after a fire at an assisted living facility. This happened in Fall River, which is about an hour south of Boston. Happened around 9:30 Sunday night. The fire chief there calling this an unfathomable tragedy. He says multiple people were hanging out of windows looking to be rescued overnight. 5 firefighters were also hospitalized with minor injuries. They are expected to be okay. 70 people lived at that facility. The mayor there saying that building will soon be boarded up. The cause of this fire is under investigation.
A family is asking for help to get the body of a local law student back to his home country. He died last week in a motorcycle crash. WRAL's Ken Smith is here now with that appeal for help. Ken.
Jeff, we first reported this crash as breaking news last Tuesday. This is Souley Bangura, and he is from Sierra Leone. Bangura died in a motorcycle crash, as you mentioned, on Creedmoor Road in Wake County. He was a law student at North Carolina Central University and an intern at the North Carolina Administrative Office of the Courts. Bangura was in his last semester of law school and getting ready to graduate. His friends and coworkers tell WRAL they are stunned and devastated by the loss.
I'm so speechless. I can't fathom what I've been told the past few days, that someone like him could be taken away from us, because he had so much so much to give to us in this world.
He made this place greater just by being here, even if it was just for 26 years. So to have that impact and to lose it's a loss. I just felt a huge loss.
Well, we're working with the State Highway Patrol to figure out exactly how this crash happened. Bangura's family has set up a GoFundMe page to help raise money to transport his body back to Sierra Leone. So far, it's raised more than $29,000.
Ken, thank you. A 19-year-old is dead after drowning in Jordan Lake. Chatham County Sheriff Mike Robertson says this happened near Farrington Road and Martha's Chapel Road. Rescue crews were called to the area around 7:30 last night. Robertson says the man was attempting to swim out to get a flotation device when he drifted away in the lake and went under. The man's body was recovered around 11 last night. Raleigh police are investigating a late-night shooting on Atlantic Avenue. Officers say a man was shot around 10:30 p.m. This was near the intersection with New Hope Road. Police say the person who was shot is expected to recover. Investigators say although no one is in custody, the public is not in danger.
Breaking news this noon, President Donald Trump has pledged to send Patriot missiles to Ukraine to help it defend itself against attacks from Russia. He also threatened more severe secondary tariffs on Russia if the two sides can't reach an agreement to end the war within 50 days. President Trump made the announcement during a meeting with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte. Now, the European Union also announced plans to delay retaliatory tariffs in response to Trump's 30% duty on goods from Europe.
Coming up, Epstein case criticism, backlash toward President Trump, and why it's coming from his most staunch supporters.
Also, how much for a piece of Mars, the red planet rock, going up for auction?
Plus, sad in summer, seasonal affective disorders usually associated with winter. How summer can also trigger those symptoms.
Coming up next, sea storms moving in with WRAL's exclusive Dual Doppler 5000, sponsored by the WRAL Weather app. Download now for live radar.
President Trump is dealing with backlash from his MAGA base. At issue is his administration's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files. Many conservatives argue Attorney General Pam Bondi should be fired. NBC's Hallie Jackson reports the president, though, is sticking with his attorney general for now.
President Trump today facing a revolt in the MAGA ranks over how his administration has handled the case of notorious sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Late Sunday, trying to downplay dissatisfaction and backing his deputy FBI director, Dan Bongino.
I spoke to him today, Dan Bongino, and he sounded terrific, actually. No, I think he's in good shape.
Bongino considered resigning over the Epstein files after a heated confrontation with Attorney General Pam Bondi, according to a source familiar with his interactions and another person who has spoken with him. The former podcaster, one of multiple Trump loyalists who had promoted conspiracies about Epstein's prison suicide 6 years ago, but in his new job, acknowledging no cover-up, despite deep skepticism from others in the president's base. At a conservative conference this weekend, that fury on full display.
How many of you are satisfied? You can clap. Satisfied with the results of the Epstein investigation? Clap.
With calls to fire Bondi, the president bringing Bondi to a soccer match Sunday, defending her as fantastic online, and writing, "What's going on with my boys?" and in some cases, gals, adding, "People should not waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein, somebody that nobody cares about." It comes after the DOJ released an unsigned 2-page memo last week saying it would not make additional disclosures in the Epstein case, reaffirming Epstein was not murdered and adding he did not maintain a client list that he used to traffic underage girls, contradicting what Bondi told Fox News in February.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump.
Bondi later saying she was referring to the Epstein files in general, as she is now squarely in the spotlight.
Pam, if you can't do your job, we'll find someone who will.
That was Hallie Jackson reporting. Now, this coincides with today's deadline for the Trump administration to respond to an appeal for Epstein's former girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell. She's currently serving 20 years in prison for sex trafficking. Maxwell was convicted on 5 counts of aiding Epstein in his abuse of underage girls in December 2021. 4 women testified at trial they had been abused as minors at Epstein's homes, and that Maxwell talked them into giving Epstein massages that turned sexual. Lawyers for Maxwell argue she never should have stood trial due to a plea deal between Epstein and prosecutors in 2008.
The largest known piece of Mars on Earth hits the auction block this week. It is a meteorite that weighs 54 pounds. It was discovered in 2023 in Niger, and that's huge compared to most Martian meteorites before, which tend to be small fragments. It is also incredibly rare. Only around 400 Martian meteorites have ever been found on Earth. The Mars rock goes under the hammer at Sotheby's in New York on Wednesday. It's expected to rake in $4 million. It is a big red rock.
It is, but if I had $4 million, not sure I would spend it on a piece of rock, even though it is from Mars. All right. Beautiful blue skies out there and lots of sunshine, but more rain will be coming. Meteorologist Amy Wilmoth is tracking the timeline for these storms and the potential for flooding again.
That's right. It'll be later this afternoon and this evening that we have that chance for showers and storms to develop again. The biggest threats would be flooding and the potential for some damaging winds as well. So any storms that form, they're going to be pretty hit and miss in nature, but they could produce some very heavy rain and gusty winds. Another headline for today is the high heat. Temperatures in the 90s, the heat index in the triple digits throughout the day today. So very hot outside as well. Here's a look at the flood risk, and from the triangle and points to the north and back to the north and west, we have that medium risk for flooding. We could see some flash flooding in these locations if we get some of those heavy downpours, just because the soil moisture, it's so saturated from previous rains. A little bit lower of a flood threat for our southern communities. The severe threat today, it's a level 1 risk, but not really concerned about the severe threat. It's in the western part of our viewing area. It'd be very isolated wind damage that we get from some of these storms. We can't totally rule it out, but it would be fairly isolated through the day today. So for the evening, some pop-up storms will be possible during the evening commute, but notice how it's fairly isolated. It's not widespread, so not everybody sees the rain today, but if you do see the rain, it's going to be very heavy rain and some gusty winds as well. Can't rule out an isolated shower or storm overnight tonight. That's why I pause the clock at 3 a.m. Just a few storms possible overnight tonight. And then tomorrow morning, we'll wake up to partly to mostly cloudy skies. It should be a dry start to the day, but we'll have another round of showers and storms tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. It does look like the flood risk is going to shift a little bit into western parts of North Carolina, but I'd still say we have at least that chance for some flash flooding if we get some heavy downpours. So tomorrow, a fairly unsettled weather day as well. It's a very persistent pattern that we have. So we have moisture coming in off the Atlantic. We also have moisture coming in from the Gulf, and this is not going to change. So several days we'll have the chance for afternoon and evening storms. And take a look at our rain chances. It's about a 30 to 40% chance for rain today, a 60% chance Tuesday, still a 50% chance Wednesday, and a 40% chance Thursday and Friday. So rain chances aren't going anywhere in the next several days. This is a live look at downtown Raleigh. A little bit of blue sky with some puffy clouds there as well. There's no rain on the radar right now, but when you step outside, you feel the heat, you feel the humidity. It's 89 in Raleigh, the dew point 73, the dew point 78 right now in Clinton, and that's where we have a heat index of 100. It's 97 for the heat index in Raleigh. 95 is what it feels like in Rocky Mount. So for the rest of the day today, plan for heat, very hot, very humid, and then some pop-up storms possible this afternoon, this evening. We'll be back down into the upper 80s by about 8 o'clock this evening. So it's a weather alert day today. Flooding rains possible, damaging winds possible, and some of those storms staying very unsettled for the rest of the week. And temperatures will climb as we head to the second half of our week and into the weekend, with high temperatures climbing back into the mid-90s. We also have some things happening in the tropics. I'll have an update on that in the next half hour.
Amy, thank you. Coming up on WRAL News at 4, a $6,000 rent bill that one tenant says is a mistake. WRAL investigates claims of being overcharged by the Durham Housing Authority.
And tonight at 6, a closer look at the strategy North Carolina's Attorney General and state school superintendents say will help protect federal funding for education. But still ahead, this new yard danger. One wrong step nearly cost a local man his foot. His warning about the accident in his yard, he says, that could have happened to anyone, anywhere.
Staying connected. An engineer is reviving old payphones. Remember those? Why a call won't cost people a dime.
An Apex man suffered a catastrophic leg injury when he says he stepped on an in-ground utility box.
And he says many others are in danger of the same thing happening to them. 5 on your side's Keely Arthur explains.
These boxes are also known as handholds, and once you start looking for them, you are going to notice them everywhere, maybe even your yard. Matthew Privet didn't even know there was one in his yard until his accident in November of 2023. He stepped on it while doing yard work. His foot went through the cover and he suffered a gruesome injury to his ankle. Privet says it was so bad, he almost lost his foot.
I had totally mentally had prepared.
For what?
That I was no longer going to have a left foot. She was like, he saved your foot. They have saved your foot. And that was just a blessing. That was such a blessing.
Since the accident, Privet has had 3 surgeries to repair the damage, but he says he'll never be able to walk like he did before the accident. And coming up tonight on WRAL News at 6, we're going to speak with Matthew Moore and hear what he says he wants utility companies to do to keep these boxes safe. Keely Arthur, 5 on your side.
A New Jersey-based company is recalling needle mushrooms because they could be contaminated with listeria. LLK Trading is recalling 200-gram packages of its product because it could make people sick. The FDA spotted the potential contamination during a routine test. So far, the company has not received any reports of anyone getting ill. If you have this product, throw it away, or you can return it to the store where it was bought for a full refund.
More Americans are reluctant to sell their home this year. A new bank rate survey finds more than half say there's no mortgage rate at which they'd feel comfortable selling. A majority say they're uncomfortable buying another home no matter what happens with rates. Among those that would be open to buying a home, 2/3 say they would need a mortgage rate below 5%. Only 3% of people would be comfortable with refinancing with rates at 6% or higher.
Nicotine poisoning rates soaring in kids. Just ahead, the product children are getting their hands on that's behind the skyrocketing cases.
Seasonal affective disorder. Most people think this form of depression strikes during fall and winter months. But coming up, how excessive heat can affect your mood. And here are your winning NC Education lottery numbers on your screen. We'll be right back. Today's a WRAL weather alert day with scattered storms leading to additional flooding possible.
Meteorologist Amy Wilmoth is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with who has the highest potential to see flooding rains. Amy.
It's going to be from the triangle and points to the north and west. That's where there's a lot of moisture still in the soil. So flash flooding will be possible if we can get some of these heavy downpours to develop in the northwestern half of our viewing area. The only thing on radar right now is in southern Virginia outside of our viewing area, but it's a sign that things are starting to develop on radar. We do have the threat for some flooding, a medium risk for flash flooding from the triangle and points to the north and west. We also have the threat for some isolated wind damage. It's a level 1 risk for the extreme western parts of our viewing area today. So those are the threats for today. It's about a 30% chance during the afternoon, bump that up to about a 40% chance during the evening for storms across the area, a 60% chance for storms Tuesday, a 50% chance Wednesday. So these storm chances will continue. Outside right now, it's not raining, it's just hot. 89 the current temperature in Raleigh. The heat feels like is 97, and high temperatures will climb into the low 90s. So once we get into the peak heating of the afternoon, we'll start to see more and more of those storms develop. We also have something happening in the tropics. I'll have the details on that coming up in a bit.
Amy, thank you. Stay on top of the latest storm developments with the new WRAL weather app. Download it for free from the Apple and Google app stores. Then turn on alerts to get notified about severe weather in your location.
North Carolina Democrats are just one seat shy of breaking the veto-proof majority held by Republicans in the state Senate. If they can pick up a seat in 2026, they'll give Democratic Governor Josh Stein more say over legislative debates. Democrats think they know exactly where to focus. A Rocky Mount area seat held by Republican Senator Lisa Stone Barnes. Her seat covers Nash, Franklin, and Vance counties, and James Gaillard is mounting a political comeback against Barnes. Now, the pastor and former lawmaker sat down with WRAL when he announced his campaign.
My message to voters is that let's take a look around, and the reality of it is we're not better off than we were. Very few people are, but we can change that.
African male American, female first, female to serve as minority leader.
Barnes wasn't available for an interview, but a Republican insider tells WRAL the party is confident in her chances to hold the seat. You can read our in-depth analysis of this key race and about other seats to watch at the NC Capitol section of WRAL.com.
When you think of seasonal affective disorder, you likely think about a form of depression typically seen in fall and winter months. But the American Psychiatric Association says many people, or some people, also experience it in the summer. Mandy Gaither explains how the heat can trigger symptoms of mood disorders and how to protect those at highest risk.
The heat and humidity may make you a bit grumpy, but for those with underlying mood disorders, the season can amplify symptoms.
The difference between someone who's experiencing sort of normal stress-related response to heat versus something that might be more of a problem really depends on if it persists.
Psychologist Louisa Sylvia with Massachusetts General Hospital says if feelings of irritability, frustration, anger, or stress last for days and begin to impact family, school, or work, that may be a red flag.
Heat can impact serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter in the brain. And already people with mood disorders have a dysfunction in that neurotransmitter. So heat sort of exacerbates or makes mood worse in those folks who have that sort of genetic vulnerability for mood disorder.
Sylvia says if you notice changes in sleep where you're getting less and changes of energy when you're feeling more energetic despite the lack of Z's, those are also red flags to see a doctor.
You need to drink a lot of water to stay hydrated. Also prioritizing your physical health, trying to get out when you can, particularly early in the morning or later at night when it's cooler, staying cool with air conditioning if you have it, or staying near water if you're capable, or at least trying to stay in the shade and around fans.
That was Mandy Gaither reporting. There are many treatments for mood disorders, such as cognitive behavioral therapy and medicines that can help relieve symptoms. So if you're having thoughts of self-harm, you can always call or text the 988 Suicide Crisis Lifeline.
Wake County Animal Center is once again critical capacity with only a handful of kennels remaining in the building. The center is currently caring for 249 dogs, 7 puppies, 61 cats, 233 kittens, a rabbit, 5 birds, and they're rapidly running out of space. To help ease overcrowding, the center is waiving adoption fees for all dogs, puppies, and adult cats who have been on the adoption floor for 15 days or more. The special runs through Sunday, July 20th.
The plague is back, where one person died from it and how infection is most likely to spread.
Parents of babies and toddlers, beware why cases of kids under 6 suffering from nicotine poisoning are skyrocketing. How you can help protect them. And remember, you can watch WRAL News live anytime on WRAL.com. Health officials in Arizona confirm one person has died from pneumonic plague. Now, it is the first recorded death from the plague since 2007. Pneumonic plague is a severe lung infection that spreads from other untreated forms of the plague. Health officials say the person died the same day they went to the hospital. The plague is often linked to rodents like prairie dogs, whose colonies can have case after case of the plague.
You can see the train of transmission being from the prairie dog to the flea, to the dog or cat, into the house. The flea bites the human gets bubonic plague.
The plague death in Flagstaff is likely not a major cause for concern. It's easily treated with antibiotics.
The rate of poisonings involving nicotine pouches among kids increased 763% in just 3 years. Nicotine increases heart rate and blood pressure and could lead to nausea, vomiting, or even a coma. It could easily exceed a deadly dose in small children. Kids are curious by nature. Babies and toddlers especially explore their worlds by putting things in their mouth. The American Academy of Pediatrics says it is critical that all nicotine products are placed far out of the reach of children. The WRAL documentary unit has covered the topic of teen nicotine use. You can watch Gen V teen vaping in North Carolina right now on WRAL.com.
Free payphone calls, how an electrical engineer is helping his town stay connected in dead spots.
And later, the new long-lasting way to protect your dog from ticks.
Big puffy clouds, so picturesque, but it is steamy. We're pushing 90 out there, and the dew points are in the 70s. So yeah, it's humid as you watch live here on WRAL News, available on Spectrum and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device.
Feeling like July.
Yeah.
An engineer in rural Vermont is giving old tech new life. Some areas in town often experience a lack of cell service, so he stepped in to help by restoring, get this, old payphones.
This is what he does. He installs them all over town and then pays for the cost of each of the phone calls. And NBC's Hallie Jackson spoke with people in town who benefit from his vision.
At this workshop in rural Vermont, what's old is new again. A blast from the past that looks cool and sounds cool. But for Patrick Schlott, it's his way of paying it forward.
It started as sort of a hobby, and it spiraled into something that is a pretty cool public service.
For the last year and a half, Patrick has been buying old payphones and fixing them up before putting them to work around town.
There are large swaths of the state without cell phone coverage. The Vermont ethos is very neighbor helping neighbor. So I figured that's the way I can contribute.
Inspired by similar efforts in cities like Philadelphia and Detroit, Patrick has installed phones at places like this general store, a rest stop, and a library. But they're not payphones, technically, since they're free to use, sort of. Patrick pays for each call out of his own pocket.
I call it a pay less phone because you don't need change.
Holly Legue is the director of the Latham Memorial Library, home to one of the phones.
These kids wouldn't have another option to give their parents a call if we weren't able to offer this phone.
In just a month, this phone made more than 200 calls by families like the Kramers.
There's a lot of times where Ian and my other kids come to the library after school before I can pick them up, and they don't have cell phones yet.
Sometimes I don't know when I'm going to get picked up from the library, so I can just call mom or dad.
These phones, not just useful, they're turning back time.
There is just kind of a fun element. I mean, in libraries, we love to bring older technology into the hands of people who might remember it fondly or maybe have never seen it before. So it brings a lot of joy.
And Patrick's got new locations planned with the same mission. Neighbor helping neighbor.
That's the way I can contribute. Kids need to phone home. It doesn't matter why you need to use the phone, but that can be a positive benefit for the community.
The rotary dial, how about that? How many kids look at it and say, what is that thing?
How do you work this?
I know, that's Hallie Jackson reporting. And Slot is looking for more places to install those phones, and he has begun collecting old payphones again.
And the other thing is you have to start memorizing phone numbers. You got to know the phone number. Did you see a ring, speaking of rings, a different kind of ring around the storms on radar yesterday? We did. Meteorologist Chris Michaels shows us how that ring kills old storms and creates new ones in today's Ask the Meteorologist.
That ring that you may have seen on radar, something that's called outflow. And this is literally how the storm is just breathing out. So within that ring, these storms were cooling the atmosphere and essentially choking themselves out, raining themselves out to where nothing else would form. But on the outer edge of that ring, it almost acted like a mini cold front, another boundary for new storms to form along. So that's the concept of it. But let me actually show you the proof in the pudding, so to speak. Let's go to the radar yesterday. This was 1:40 p.m. and you can see that ring right there. Now that could be dirt or dust or birds or bugs and things that are being kicked out from the storm. Watch what happens 1 hour later. Everything within that is gone. The storms again had kind of choked themselves out, whereas new ones were starting to develop right along that boundary. And as we put it in a loop, you can see how the textbook kind of stuff was actually playing out Sunday afternoon, something we may see with future storms as we go through the rest of the week.
Love it when Chris gets really weather geeky.
Yeah.
It is really cool when you see the ring, right?
I've never seen anything like it, but we asked the meteorologist, and this is the answer we get. He brings it.
And then now let's ask meteorologist Amy Wilmoth, are we going to see a ring around the storms again today?
We certainly could. And as a meteorologist, I geek out too. I made my daughter and her boyfriend go out to feel the outflow boundaries that moved through our area a couple of days ago. If you see one of those boundaries, if you go to our weather app and you see one of those boundaries and it's headed your way, go outside. It's a big, refreshing, cool blast of air that will move through. Nothing on the radar right now except for Southern Virginia, but we'll be watching for those outflow boundaries through the day today. We do have the chance for flooding and an isolated chance for some damaging winds as well. It's a medium risk for flooding today in the northern half of our viewing area for the triangle and points to the north. It's a level 1 risk for the extreme northern and western parts of our viewing area. We could see some isolated severe storms that produce some wind damage. What we have is we have moisture coming in from the Atlantic. We have moisture coming in from the Gulf. It's a lot of moisture in place, and when you get into the daytime hours in the afternoon, you get lift with the heating of the day and you get some storms. Speaking of moisture from the Gulf, we still have a 30% chance of development in the next 7 days of the system in the Gulf. Now, we're not expecting this to have huge impacts on us, but it's a sign that just we'll have more moisture streaming our way, bringing more opportunities for showers and storms in the coming days. A look at how much rain we could get. This takes us through the next 7 days, so through the next week. The highest rain totals will be over the areas where we've seen so much rain in the last couple of weeks. The northwestern half of our viewing area, about 3/4 of an inch to maybe up to 2 inches in spots on an isolated basis. Lower rainfall totals south and east of the triangle. But any storms that form could produce some very heavy rain and some gusty winds. Here 6 o'clock this evening, just some hit and miss showers and storms, so not everybody sees these storms. Very similar to what we had over the weekend. And then overnight tonight, a stray shower storm. We can't rule it out. By tomorrow morning, there shouldn't be much on radar. If anything, we'll have some clouds to kick off the day. We get back to the heating of the day in the afternoon and evening. Storms fire up again. This is 3 o'clock. So showers and storms remain possible as we head into Tuesday. And this is really just going to continue for the rest of the work week. It's pretty quiet outside right now. This is a live look at downtown Raleigh. Notice we have a little bit of cloud cover, a little bit of blue sky peeking through as well. It's very warm. It's now 91 in Apex, 86 in Garner, 87 in Rollsville. It's 91 degrees right now in Wake Forest. And the dew point is way up there in the tropical category at 73. And so when you factor in the moisture in the air, the dew point levels, this is what it feels like. It feels like 104 right now in Clinton. Very, very hot there. They typically have those higher dew points. They're a little bit closer to the coast. It feels like 97 in the Triangle, feels like 100 in South Hill, Virginia, feels like 99 in Southern Pines. So hour by hour today, if you want to head to the pool, maybe to cool off from the heat, just know we'll have some hit and miss showers and storms possible, but some of you will go to the pool and be just fine. You won't have any storms. So very hit and miss in nature today. Weather alert day because some of those storms could produce flooding and some damaging winds. Storms remain possible for the rest of the week. Not as hot Tuesday and Wednesday, but we're right back into the mid-90s for the upcoming weekend.
Can we just go to this?
Oh, Sky 5 is over the sunflower seeds at Dix Park, and we've been watching this adorable family taking their family photos there. That little girl, do you see the number 3? She was holding up the balloon. So happy birthday to her and her little sibling there.
Oh my, I mean, mom was shooting and
Yes.
dad had the kids and then they traded out.
And the sunflowers in full bloom right now at Dix Park in Raleigh.
Hey, don't
Beautiful
forget-
family.
Don't forget me.
We'll have top stories right after this.
We wrap things up with a look at a few of the headlines we're following for you today as family and friends bid farewell in Sanford to a family of 4 killed in a plane crash last week. Travis and Candace Buchanan, along with their 2 children, 10-year-old Aubrey and 9-year-old Walker, all died in Monday's crash. The services began with a 2-mile-long procession along Broadway Road in Sanford that was followed by a church funeral.
State Attorney General Jeff Jackson and State School Superintendent Mo Green are expected to announce legal action against the federal government this afternoon. The Trump administration is withholding more than $169 million from North Carolina schools. They say they are reviewing the funding to make sure it aligns with the president's priorities. Meantime, schools are using hiring and spending freezes to offset the cash flow problems this is causing.
A 19-year-old is dead after drowning in Jordan Lake. It happened last night near Farrington Road and Martha's Chapel Road. Chatham County Sheriff says the man was attempting to swim out to get a flotation device when he drifted away in the lake and went under.
Grammy Award-winning entertainer Bad Bunny is giving fans a crash course on Puerto Rican culture. The island's native son kicked off his 3-month residency over the weekend, highlighting his pride for his homeland. But the words in his lyrics are easy to understand for non-Puerto Ricans or people of another generation. And now there's a dictionary available that decodes the slang as well as cultural references in Bad Bunny songs. Fans are giving the new dictionary good reviews. The residency is expected to bring in $200 million in revenue for the island.
You say goodbye to monthly flea and tick treatments for your dog. The FDA has approved a new longer-lasting medication from Merck. The new shot is called Bravecto Quantum. It protects dogs against fleas and ticks for 8 to 12 months. Treatments have to be prescribed by a licensed veterinarian because medical expertise is required to properly administer it, and veterinarians may need to monitor potential adverse reactions. It'll be available starting next month.
Time for our pet of the day. This is Gail. She's 4.5 months old, just a puppy. Gail is a playful snuggler who will give kisses. She's great with other dogs, cats, gentle with kids. At 20 pounds today, she'll likely be about 45 pounds when full grown. You can learn more about her at lovemuttsrescue.com.
Coming up on WRAL News at 4, affordable housing that is not so affordable. WRAL investigates one woman's nearly $7,000 bill for just a couple of months' rent.
We could have scattered storms moving in later today, so keep it right here on WRAL. NBC News Daily is next, and your next local update in 30 minutes.
Also, you can get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Have a great day.
Stay safe with the latest WRAL Weather Alert Day info. Get up to the minute weather and traffic conditions when you get in your car. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.